Well, good
Hi,
morning,
everybody.
everyone. Yeah, good morning. Welcome to the Buddhist Biohacker. I am your host, Lisa, and your mystic guide in this wild world we live in. And welcome to everybody who's joining in the live. And it is Tarot Tuesdays, which we love so much with Marlena Leonard. Welcome back, Marlena.
Happy to be here. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Yes. Oh my God. I love you so much. I missed you. I'm not going to lie. I missed you. It's like a month is a long time.
It felt extra long. Yes. I feel like every time I say this, but it's like, it feels so long in between videos. I'm always so happy to be back.
Yep, I'm with you. And I was ready today. I already went live in Ajata Kasha and was doing some cards and having some conversations. I had some pretty interesting night last night. Like I was visited definitely by ultra terrestrials last night. I'm still trying to figure out. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like, I mean, I've had those visits, but not in a while. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. If you have questions, please go ahead and throw your questions in there. We'll start answering them here momentarily with our tarot cards. And also, I'd love to hear from everybody. Like, what is your favorite tarot card?
Yes. That's I feel like that's a really insightful question because I feel like a lot of people's answers are really surprising. I have a friend whose favorite is the Nine of Pentacles. Right. But of course, for her, it's that whole like independence and comfort aspect for her. And then, of course, a lot of people say the sun and the star. But I actually had someone whose favorite was the Three of Pentacles. And I thought that was really telling. Like they're not afraid of work and they like teamwork. And I thought that was really, really cool. Hierophant. Talia says Hierophant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Mine's the Fool. That's my favorite because he's just the beginning and the end, you know?
Yeah. I think mine is the Hermit. That's one between the Hermit and the Chariot, but I feel like those are because they kind of stand out for my personal lessons. They're kind of like my hello, get everything in check cards when they pop up. And so I appreciate them. They seem like those kind of you have a friend who tells you how it is when they're really kind, but they'll tell you when it's like, hey, you need to get your act together. The Chariot is always coming through and being like, Marlena, what are you doing? Like, let's focus, So I like the accountability.
I like it.
Karen says Four of Wands. Yes.
Well, I'm using a new deck today, and welcome in, Heather. Welcome. Some of you guys are new to our channel, so welcome in. Don't forget to click subscribe if you're watching on Buddhist Biohacker, and if you're watching on Marlena's Island Wise channel, make sure you subscribe to both of us. We love that. We appreciate that very much because we both come on to our channels quite often. I have a new deck. So my husband bought me a couple decks at Christmas, which was really cool that he did that. I was surprised and not surprised. I mean, he's good like that, but he's never bought me cards before, but the decks he bought me were really cool and I've never heard of them. So the one that I'm going to use today is one I haven't used yet. And, I've got weird stuff popping up on my screen. Okay. So I'm using the Dark Wood Tarot. That's what I'm using.
Love. I've seen that one online before. That's some pretty like deep cards. I love them.
They're really deep. And you know what's cool is, I mean, this is silly, but it comes with this book, you know, they all come with books, but dude, like, it's like really fancy.
Wow.
Like it's a
Yeah,
fancy
full
book.
color. Yeah,
Yeah, so you know,
that
I
is
mean, that's kind of
nice.
cool. I'm into it. So, that's what I'm using today. Which decks are you using today?
I've got my good old light seers out. I've got my Rider Waite and my personal favorite Oracle deck right now. I've got the Hero's Dream Journey because I feel like that one is really on target with kind of helping get your mindset right when it comes to where you are and the stage that you're in because they're all meant to happen in your life. You know, there is no wrong place to be in. We all have to learn these lessons, and so I love it for that purpose. It kind of helps you understand where you are, but also move forward from it. So those are my old faithfuls. I have one that's in my cart right now that I want to get. I've been kind of sitting on it for a couple of months. I think I'm going to get it because I keep seeing it pop up, and I'm like, is it a sign or do I just want to buy a new deck? You know, I just was like, okay, let's be honest. Are we just like happy, trigger happy, or like is this a sign? So we'll see. We'll see. I think I'm gonna get it though.
I love it. Well, Nadine had asked for a card um, about
Hi,
her career,
Nadine.
a card pulled for her career. Yeah, hi Nadine. So I pulled a card while you were talking. It just fell out. These are really cool. They're very like, look at it. It's like very cartoony.
Ooh, yeah.
The Lovers, Nadine. This is Lovers, and I'm curious. Like this is brand new. I've never read this deck, and the book itself says, and I know it's not very psychic of me, but I do like looking at it. It says, this is interesting. It says mentorship and the sharing of information, external
Hmm.
spirituality, religious structures, institutions. I mean, this is the meaning of this. And then it also talks about, it says, love is the unifying, expansive, and binding forces of the universe. Is like its little thing that's like, I mean, this book's really cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. It says deep gratitude and a sense of aliveness and the shadow. So look at this. It has the meaning and then it has the shadow of the card. So that's really
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
The shadow of this is attachment, desperation, refusal to let a relationship end, repeated abusive patterns. So all of that to say, Nadine, it feels like you're teaching something. You're holding a depth, right? There was talking about a deeper meaning. And I think of your group in Ajata Kasha that's all about simplification, you know, and enjoying life. And so I would say around your career, there's a call to action for you to begin teaching others and supporting them and having a deeper meaning in what they do. And that perhaps you're looking for a deeper meaning in your career as well. And the shadow side, you know, the obsession and the toxic patterns, I would just look at where you have toxicity in your work, you know, and where you want to release that. So that's what I get from that. What a cool, it's a cool deck.
Yeah, and I always love to read the books when I get a new deck because you never know. Like people have their own interpretations, especially with the artwork, and I think it's so cool to just add those layers and you know different cards mean different things in different decks, and so I always think it's cool just to get that extra layer of like the intention behind the creator. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a really interesting take that they have on it. I like that.
Yeah.
Michelle wanted a card for her business as well. And Michelle, you got Karen's favorite card. You got the Four of Wands. And that's a very good card to get if you're asking about your business, right? Reasons to celebrate these foundations being established. So right now, if you're in a stage where you're kind of thinking about how you want to move forward, I'd say to really make sure that you have the structures and the foundations in a simple sense really laid down properly and really strong for you before you kind of try to maybe over jump before you have a framework that's there to help you, because you really want to consider, like, there's obviously potential for celebration and growth here, but what you want to do is kind of create more of an easy framework, so as things expand, as things get better, that it doesn't become a stressor or a burden on you, that you've already created dynamics that'll handle it for you. And so, yeah, things look good. Just make sure that you have your foundations, all the things that you keep thinking of, like, perhaps I should address that. Maybe I should make sure that that's all of my ducks are in a row. Just getting those simple things down before you try to kind of jump into the next chapter. Or if you feel like there's been something that's been blocking you, like you've been stuck in a stage for a while, it would really be to address the simpler things, really pull it back. And if you've been kind of overthinking, what's the problem? What's the problem? Draw it back and make it a little bit simpler. And it's probably one of those foundational aspects. And the second you get that straightened out, you're going to have reason to celebrate. So looks good. Looks like a simple fix.
Cool. Well, Renee was asking for a card pull for her future. And Renee, I was like shuffling and this card like flies out and it's death.
Ooh,
yeah.
fun.
So Renee, you know, in the book it says, I love this. It says, let death teach you how to live. Isn't that awesome?
Ooh.
Obviously, death is complete and sudden change, right? Like, so Renee, you're asking for a card pull for your future. It sounds like things are going to change for you, but there's a whole lot about that change that comes to mind looking at your energy. So a few things I would say, Renee, about your future. In yoga, death is corpse pose. It's shavasana. It's the end of the practice. You know, it's like when you come full circle through the entire cycle, you come into this place of death. And death happens so that you can be reborn. So I feel like you're coming to the end of a cycle, you're getting ready to start something new. And if you're trying to not have your entire life change, you're fighting an uphill battle. I would just let go and let everything change and transform, because I feel like once you do, you're going to have that rebirth experience where you feel profound. And for some reason, it's just coming in that there may be a relationship ending as well. I'm not sure what that's about, but I am getting that some of this has to do with some kind of relationship in your life, whether that's a friendship or a romantic relationship, but something's happening with that as well. So I would say, you know, death is a beautiful thing. Death is when you transform and go into an awakening, right? And so just know that you're stepping into a whole new cycle, and that's going to come as you go forward here. So that's what I get for that. It's a big card.
That's
You're going
deep.
into a big,
Yeah,
big
that
space.
is deep.
Yeah.
I love that. Talia wanted a message for anything that comes through. So I pulled a tarot card and an oracle card for you, Talia. You got the 7 of Pentacles initially. So, and then you also got in the Castle of Dreams. So when I'm looking at these two together, the message that I'm getting through is that, you know, you're working on something right now that you've planted the seeds, you've done what you were supposed to do, and you're kind of in that waiting period where you're like, is it growing? Is it not growing? Was it worth it? Is it a waste of time? Should I kind of move on to something else? Or is this going to play out and benefit me? And with this, especially when we look at this card in this deck, I hope you can see it. You can kind of see that there's also energy coming from his hands. Like he is participating in the growth of what he's trying to manifest, to grow into his life. It's not something where he's passively watching it. Yes, you've done the work to plant the intention, but there's still kind of ongoing required energy that goes on. And you can see that it's not something that's draining him. It's a very easy hand movement that he's doing. It's just attention, right? You can see that he's still putting some loving attention into this. And then also in the castle of your dreams, it says, become altered by the color of your dreams. And the mantra of this card is, I use my entire palette and paint with broad strokes as I participate vividly in life. So really what I think this is saying is that even though right now you're kind of waiting to see if the work that you've been doing or the intention that you've set or planted is going to pan out, don't limit yourself even to this current thing that you're working on. Continue to dream big and take like bold and brave steps and really live that colorful, vivid life that you want to live. There's no need to wait for permission or to wait for the first fruit or flower to bloom. Like just start bringing that dream into your life in full color. And so remembering to put your energy into what you're trying to build, but also just allowing yourself to dream a little bigger while you're waiting for the smaller things to grow. Okay?
I love it. All right. Amy was asking, she said, I'd be interested to know if it's my best interest to charge forward with my book without having money, and where is the money going to come from? And the card that fell out, I mean, this is when I love stuff like this. So the card that fell out is the 8 of Pentacles. Look at how cool these cards are. I'm just obsessed with these pictures.
Ooh.
Eight
Oh,
of
wow.
Pentacles. It's this little nature sprite. And Amy, this message in this book directly answers your question. You couldn't pull, I mean, it's like you couldn't pull anything more perfect. So I'm going to read it because it's so good. So
Mm-hmm.
it says the Eight of Pentacles. Here we go. And this is about Amy and her moving forward with her book. And it says a dryad is a nature spirit who inhabits a particular tree. She places a pentacle on display. These nature spirits take human form according to myth. They live as long as the life of the tree they call home. Nature spirits are the bridge of communication between humans and the natural world, often acting as intermediaries. Like a pentacle, the tree is a source of wisdom and manifestation. This is why the dryads who inhabit them and live among them consider trees, groves, and forests sacred. The Dryad's handiwork reflects the continual evolution of the suit of pentacles. The energy of growth continues to expand without the context of infinity, represented by the number 8. Those who focus on tasks can bask in the reward of a job well done. It is pleasure and pride in what you do. Hard work, handiwork, diligence, release attachment to results. Joy exists
Oh.
in the process. Once your work is finished, it ceases to be yours and takes on a life of its own. There will be highs and lows, good days and bad. Stay true and persevere.
Wow.
Enough said. I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
like write your book. Don't worry about it. It's not always going to be comfortable. And I think Marlena and I can both speak to that. We're both creative people. Dude, we've been there where you just don't have anything. I actually went through a period when I was working as a full-time psychic back in the day. This was like 2009. I didn't even have a car. I had to walk like 2 miles to the grocery store, and it was hard. And when you choose to walk your spiritual path, sometimes it's really hard, but that's the
Yeah.
awakening. That's the awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And all the abundance and joy and bliss comes because you've done the work and you've been through the awakening. Sometimes it's letting everything go.
Yeah.
Actually brings you there.
Yeah. Yep. Because you also get to release those blocks when you think of it that way. Because if you're so focused on like the end results or like the reviews that you're going to get on the book, then you kind of start self-editing before you even get to go. And it's like just releasing that and thinking of it more as like this journey, your spiritual journey, or like hand holding with the divine when you're writing this book, instead of thinking about everyone else's opinion, just thinking about the journey that you're having instead. I think that's a beautiful card. That card couldn't, no other card could have said it better. So let's see. We have Claire. Claire wanted to have a message about the next month. So you had two very interesting cards. You got the Six of Cups and you got Attune to the Call. So I feel like in the next month, you're going to be having this kind of reawakening or awakening or some kind of pull towards something that you were interested in as a child, or something that brings you nostalgic feelings, something that might be healing some kind of childhood memories, or just, showing some reverence to them. And it's really going to be about perhaps even just bringing some childhood magic back into your life. And that can be as simple as maybe you're going to be interested in doing a project that relates to something that you were interested in as a child, or it might just be some kind of mindful use of working with your inner child in the next month to kind of bring a bit more joy into your everyday. So being less concerned with what other people are thinking, and maybe going back to an interest like before everyone told you what you're supposed to do, what's not proper, what's not okay, like what is something that really you found engaging, and just you think about it a lot, possibly from your younger years, that really made you happy. I mean, you don't have to have been as young as this little boy is. It could be something that was like from your early 20s or something like that, but something that reconnects you to your truest essence, right? And it might feel like a little bit of a stretch, because initially it might be something that seems a little out there or uncomfortable for you. But the message of this card is you are attuned to the sounds of your soul. And what was once a still small voice has become the loudest call you hear. You are mustering the courage to heed the call when it resonates throughout your entire body, and the situation or opportunity is right for you. Foster gratitude as you do your inner work, so the sweet sound of higher ground resonates throughout your being. Make room in your life for grace so the call of your highest destiny can be heard, honored, and acted upon. Also, the dream symbol of this card is a phone call. So this could also be that in the next month, there's going to be someone from your youth, from your childhood days, that might be getting reconnected with you. You might be dealing with these people again, whether it's family or an old friend, or maybe some kind of connection to an old school. But the mantra of this card is, when the universe calls, I pick up. So really not being afraid to make these big, brave, bold decisions this month, and being out there in the way that so many children are. Like, they are so fine with just walking up to anybody and being like, hi, I'm Marlena, just a complete stranger. They don't care. They just want to be themselves and connect, and just really allowing yourself to show up bravely in this coming month, I feel is going to bring a lot of joy and happiness, and perhaps a reconnection with old friends. So yeah.
Ooh, I love it. Well, I pulled for Sarah. Sarah was just asking for a general reading. And Sarah, I pulled the 9 of Cups. Look at that 9 of Cups.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the message of the 9 of Cups is devour it. And, in traditional tarot, this is your fat, happy man, right? And this one, it's like a cat going crazy. It's like, and it says in the card, yum, 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 right? Like devour it. And, it's interesting, Sarah, because it says that the meaning of this card is that your wish is coming true. And like I said, the 9 of Cups is the fat, happy man, but it says something in this book that's so magical. I'm like obsessed in this moment. The 9 of Cups, it says it's 3 to the 3rd power. So think about the power of 3 times 3 and what that really means, as far as like wishes coming true. So I would say something really great's about to happen for you, and something good is going to come true that you've been wanting. And the other thing this talks about is that the shadow of this is to ask yourself, are you romanticizing something? Is there something that you think is so great that it's just this romantic, amazing idea? And is there anything that you can bring into action today to really make this happen? So I actually think this is twofold. I think this is telling you something good is about to happen for you. I also think it's telling you to really question and look at, contemplate what you're wanting or what you're dreaming of, and why you're dreaming of it, and how you can bring that why into the present moment.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Awesome. Like, I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, the book is selling me. I'm just saying, like,
I know. How did my husband how did he even know to get them? I don't know, but they're so good. Really.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Nina B was asking for any messages that are coming through to her today. You didn't do hers, right?
No, I didn't. Mm-mm.
Okay. And so I pulled a couple of cards, and this is just really, I love this for you. So there seems to be right now that there might be a little bit of an imbalance. This is the Justice card reversed, with like what you want and what you've been getting, or what's been coming into your life. And it's really a call here, because you've also got the Quest as your hero's dream, your hero's oracle dream card, right? And it's really going to be about clarifying, what is the quest that you're wanting to go on? Like, what do you want to bring into your life? And have you been taking the steps, being balanced in that approach, putting in the work, or putting in the intention that you needed to get closer to this dream, and really not being afraid to be bold? I mean, look at the colors on this card, right? Just vibrant, bold, fiery orange, right? You have to, if you're going on this quest, if you're making this brave choice, you really have to be decisive and be committed when you make that kind of choice. And so with this card, the Justice card, lots of people also associate this with like the law of attraction, but it's also almost like that rule where it's like, what you put out, you get back. And so if you've been wanting this big dream that you have, or even if it's just a small goal, it's like, have my actions been matching my desires? Have they been matching my intentions? Have I been in alignment with what it is that I want? And there's no need to be hard on yourself if the answer is no. We all get in that spot where you have to catch yourself sometimes and be like, okay, there's some kind of, we're not quite on the same page with our desires and our actions. And it's just all about coming into awareness with this. And so the job here, if you find that the answer is no, they haven't been in alignment, there is definitely something that I can come into balance to feel more peaceful. And that is the quest, right? And the words on the bottom say, plunge boldly into life. And so the Quest card says, your perception is most accurate when it's inside out. You've crossed the threshold from the ordinary world into the special world. It is here the rules of the ego and polite society no longer apply. In the ordinary world, it was acceptable to run from the things that scared you. In the special world, you walked toward those things with open arms. In the ordinary world, it was acceptable to associate falling with failing. In the special world, it is an invitation to explore your depth. In the ordinary world, it was customary to pretend you don't have a shadow. In the special world, your shadow is where your greatest gifts arise. I'm sorry, can we pause and take a moment to look again at the imagery here? We're talking about acknowledging your shadow, right? And the balance of both sides of ourselves. So paying attention to that. In the ordinary world, when something was bizarre, you disregarded it as irrelevant. In the special world, strangeness is an indicator of value and importance. In the ordinary world, it was acceptable to blame other people for your difficulties. In the special world, you take full responsibility for your experience. And the mantra is, I become more lucid when I choose to see the world from an inside out perspective. So it's really interesting that this also had a lot of this imagery of having both sides, of inside out, of acknowledging your shadow. And so it could just be right now that in order to really move forward in what you were meant for, what you're desiring right now, you kind of need to do a little bit of a self check and see really how that balance is going on in your life right now. How are you with accountability and responsibility? Are you in alignment with what you want? Are your actions in alignment with your desires? And if, like I said, if the answer is no, no pressure, no need to, beat yourself up about it. Just saying, okay, we're realigning, we're recalibrating, and we're going to move forward with more intention and with bravery, because there's no reason that you can't live this really warm and bold and brave life. And that's your message for today, Nina.
Beautiful. All right. Susan asked, where do I fit in within the soul family that I feel a deep part of, but not a part? And the card I pulled was the Four of Swords. These are very fantastical. And the
Yeah.
message in the card says this man is waking this sleeping woman up, or is she asleep? You can see she has a dagger in her hand here.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because this message says, 4 is the number of stability. Swords are the suit of the mind. It is the calmness and quiet we enjoy when we are mentally balanced. A woman sleeps, or does she? A man approaches her bedside wearing dastardly gloves. The swords hang precariously above his body. What happens when the story you cherished, loved, and believed in doesn't work anymore? How do you adapt when stability is threatened? Can you accept truth when it stares you in the face? Old stories are dying. The new narratives must unravel. It is the nature of evolution. All things want to grow. You have the means of protection at hand. You have the power to adapt to any situation once your mind is made up. Trust your inner voice. Hear the inner whispers speaking truth in your ears. Know what you know. React accordingly. A need for new stories, narratives, and unique ideas, balanced and logical thoughts, rest with a plan for action. And then the shadow of this, Susan says, what happens when we realize the bedrock of personal stories and agreed upon narratives no longer work? Will you cling to outdated mythology because it's comfortable, or will you pick up all available tools and move boldly into the future of your own making?
Mm.
Yeah, and this is potent because what you asked, Susan, is where do you fit in with this soul family? You feel a part of it, not a part of it. And I think the question is it your soul family? Is it not? What stories or narratives do you want to let go of? So often we are holding on to this idea of what our life is and who belongs in our life and what kind of people belong in our life. And, this last year has been really tricky for all of us, right? There's all sorts of information and stories and political views and divisiveness and all these things. And I think the gift of it and the challenge of it is, can we love each other anyways? Can you have the
Mm.
beliefs? I had somebody send me a really long email, I don't know, it was like June of last year, because they were really concerned about my political beliefs. And this isn't a political platform, by the way, and this isn't what I'm really interested in talking about, but I want to share this because of Susan's question, which is, it's really okay for everyone to believe what they believe. And having concerns for that, does it matter? Or can you love the person anyways? And so I think, Susan, where do you fit into your soul family? I think this is asking you to ask yourself that. Where do you think you fit in with your soul family? And do you feel that they're your soul family? And where's the struggle? Are you struggling with letting go of folks who are not aligned with you anymore, even if they're in your soul family or not?
Mm.
And, are you what narrative do you want to be a part of? I think that's really it. Our perception is our reality. And there's lots of stories out there. Can you let them all go and just be on the planet and have fun and be creative and be connected with each other and love each other? I think that's huge. And I get a really strong message, Susan, for you right now. It's like coming through from spirit. Susan, I think what I'm getting is that you really love and care for people no matter what. And it's hard for you to let them go. And it's okay for you to do that. The people that are no longer aligned with you, it's okay to
Mhm.
let them go. You can still love them. You can still have compassion. You just don't have to hear their story anymore. And it's also okay for you to trust yourself and to trust whatever you're stepping into. You can't not be a part of your soul family. They're a part of you, and your soul family is not always going to be fabulous. They are going to be trigger you, that are catalysts for your awakening, that push you to the nth degree. That's what a soul family does. It doesn't mean it's all rainbows and butterflies, for sure. So just keep that in mind. So that is a long-winded answer, but it's a tough thing right now. So I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Jackie asked if we see a job or a man that she can get excited about coming into her life. And I think the answer here is job. You got the world, which to me would, hey, that's one of my favorite cards. We were talking about favorite cards. I love the world. And I think this one is particularly exciting because when it comes to the world, it's not just that kind of like just plain old new job. It's kind of that feeling of culmination that the stage that you were in, the entire place that you were in, is coming to a close, and you're moving on to something bigger and better because you're ready for it. And it's going to be something that, you can see she's extremely excited moving through. It's something that you feel lighter, you feel brighter, it feels more in alignment with what you're going for because you've come to this space where you've been able to release what's been holding you in the past chapter because you can't move on to the next chapter if you don't turn the page. And there's kind of this shift that's coming where it's like you're ready to turn the page, and that feeling, that energy within yourself ripples out. People can feel it when you release something and you're ready to move on to the next chapter, and they come toward you. It's just universal law. And it's one of those things that's coming in where it might require some travel. You still have to decide to take the leap if you want to go or not, but it is something that has potential for really life-changing and exciting shifts that perhaps even allow you to shift into almost a different aspect of yourself. Because sometimes when we want something, when we have a dream job or just a dream in general, sometimes when we look at where we are now, we have to ask ourselves, okay, am I the person that I would need to be to do this thing or to work at this job? And if the answer is no, like maybe it's just that you need to work on some new skills, right? Maybe it's something that has to do with organization or whatever it is. But it's that kind of, am I willing to step up and step into this next job? Because I feel like that's coming for you and it's really exciting. But you're just going to have that little conversation with yourself that yes, it might require a little bit of a level up or whatever, or some self work, but don't be scared by that. Don't be scared by the notion that I might have to learn new things, because you're always going to have to learn new things. But wouldn't you rather have to learn new things at something you enjoy doing, at something that's in alignment with your desires? And so that's really what's coming through with this job. And the reason why I think this is so exciting is because the other card you got was, for this you were born. Foster your intention for incarnating in this dimension. And so these are both two very powerful cards when it comes to promotion, getting excited for something new, and again, really focusing on the fact that this seems like it's in alignment with what you want. It's not just a new job with good insurance and a good salary or something. It's something that is allowing you to move into a new stage that is in alignment with your truest desires. So it's going to be one of those jobs where it doesn't feel like work, where it doesn't feel like, oh gosh, now I have to go and do blah, 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 right? It's going to be something that is fulfilling, that is exciting, that, you know, you start doing your work and you're like, I can feel the difference that I'm making in my life and the lives of others when you get there. And it's also with this card, again, not being afraid to see what in you needs work and address it, because the mantra of this card is vulnerability is one of my greatest strengths. So
Mm.
really coming into awareness of where am I vulnerable, right? And choosing, of course, to stay vulnerable in certain aspects. I think there was some post at some point that was like, you know, you can be strong, but you also want to be someone who is kind and spiritual. And they were like, I think the phrase they ended up using was like moisturize spiritually, so that you don't end up, you don't have to have this thick skin and sharp teeth and nobody can touch you. You know, you can be protected and have boundaries while still feeling in your life. And so this card is really indicative that this job is going to be something that feels in alignment with you, because it says you are alive with infinite possibilities. Every cell of your body sings and shouts a full throttled yes to life. Before you were born, you had a reason, a strong desire for wanting to experience the human realm. You joyously raised your hand and stood on your tippy toes to volunteer to partake. Your soul smiled wildly as you traveled from the angelic realm, where all is love, whole, and perfect, into the realm of humanity. Though the challenges that come your way, remember, all you need to do is ask, and you will be instantly refueled by love and support from your soul family. They are always at the ready. Your job is to remember to remember. As you awaken each morning, revisit your passionate intention for this lifetime. Remind yourself, for this I was born. Gather your energy, creativity, talent, and will, so no part is left behind as you cross a new threshold of adventure. And I also think this is really important to note, because we're talking about crossing new thresholds. And again, that is definitely one of those themes that's in alignment with the World card. This card itself is associated with crossing the threshold in the hero's journey. So if you've been feeling blocked and you think about the hero's journey and how these things play out, one of the stages in the hero's journey is refusal of the call, because you know what you want, but it's kind of I don't know, overwhelming. It's kind of scary, and so you're like, no, I'm not ready. I'm just not ready for that. And there's nothing wrong with that stage. Everybody goes through that stage. It doesn't mean that this is the wrong thing for you. It's a natural kind of self-preservation reaction. So if you've been feeling kind of in a lull in any of these areas in your life, it's kind of because you've been in that refusal of the call period, where even though you want something better, it's still scary to take the step. But you are now like firmly in the position where you can cross the threshold and really step into this magical world and just brighter days ahead, period. Yeah.
I love it. All right, William. William was asking for a card, and the card I pulled for you, William, is the Page of Pentacles. And as we know, pages are the messengers of the suit, you know. So pentacles, a pentacle is magic, right? It's the five-pointed star.
Mm-hmm.
It's financial. It's the manifestation of the magic in the real world. And the thing is, William, it has, you know, it has the message of the card, but then it also has the shadow, and it's very interesting. So the message of the card is use what you have to take action, trust what you see before you. You have what you need at your fingertips. It's time to use it, and the solution is on the way. But the shadow side is really the work for you. It says there's magic in front of you if you would just stop and see it, taste it, feel it. You are overlooking resources that can help you achieve your goals. Gaze beneath
Mm-hmm.
the surface of the situation. Look through the veneer to see the structure of life and the repeating patterns making up the essential nature of reality. It says, discover how things are similar rather than different. Eradicate any idea of you versus them, interconnectedness. And I think this is telling you you have what you need. You just need to see it. So I feel like if you're on the precipice of making some kind of decision or taking action on something or wondering what you should do about something, and this is saying, go do it, go do it. And you have everything you need to do it. This really reminds me, this card reminds me a lot of the magician, because the magician has traditionally all of the suits in front of him on the table. He has everything he needs. So the other thing I get to a hit for you, William, is there's magic in everything, and don't forget that. So if you're feeling a little bit mundane, remember that nothing is mundane. So I get that for you as well.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Linda wanted a card of the day. And so today looks like a really good day for you, Linda, honestly, to get things done, to get things moving forward. Because you got the Eight of Wands, right? Which is really put these things into action. If you have an intention, if you have things that you've been wanting to get out there, get moving. And this could be something where it's like you literally want to take action today. Because like, don't forget the wands are all about passion, creativity, that kind of fiery energy, getting things done. It's not so much about like planning what you want to do, but instead saying, okay, what have I done? What am I going to do today? And so perhaps there's something today that you can kind of use as almost like an accelerator for your intentions, putting them out there. It's really just putting yourself and your intentions out there today. Do something that takes action to get yourself closer to that, because I feel like they're going to go further today. So if there's been something that you've been kind of holding off on that could have been a progress step, that is being clear with your intentions, putting yourself out there, getting your work out there. If you've been kind of like sitting on some work or an intention that you've been wanting to do, really allowing that to go out there, because your other card is the reward. And it's all about celebrating your magnificence. So today, I think a focus is going to be having confidence in your work and your desires, and not being afraid to put them out there. Because I feel like sometimes we hold ourselves back in putting things out there, because it's really easy to tell yourself, well, I didn't fail if I didn't try. Right? Like if I didn't tell anybody about it, if I never tried, then nobody said no, because, oh, I never got around to it. So it's easy to kind of fall back on that. But then you could also be missing out on the reward. And so really taking advantage of the time you have today, even if it's something small. Like I said, it's not, if you've been kind of holding back on writing a whole business plan, I'm not saying like you have to make the whole business plan today, or that, it's going to be ruined forever. Nothing like that. It's just taking the time to also show yourself. It's not just about sharing your intentions with other people. When you share them, you're also showing yourself that you believe in yourself, and that you believe that this is powerful for yourself and possible for yourself. So allowing that to come through today, where you really just put some of that out there, you put some of your intentions out there, because the message for the reward is, congratulations, you have a life worth celebrating. You've suited up, shown up, did your heroic best, and lo and behold, hear the trumpets, you have entered the reward stage of your journey. You've accomplished the seemingly impossible. This is a moment to stop and drop to your knees in gratitude for who you've become and what you've accomplished, and the blessings you can now share with the world. You might find it challenging to receive your reward, but it's important that you do, even if you only do it for a moment. The reward becomes easier to accept once you realize that the more you take in, the more you will have to give. Breathe this in, soak it up, let its splendor fill you, radiate through you, and elevate your awareness so that you can have even more blessings to share with the world. And the mantra is, I allow myself to feel the joy of having arrived at this moment in my life. And so really harnessing that energy and feeling that reward, right? And allowing that energy to propel what you want for your future forward. And that's going to be the intention for today. So like root yourself in gratitude, almost use that gratitude and excitement as momentum, and then just put it out there, whatever it is that you're wanting to move forward and put out there with lots of passion and intention, because it could travel far today. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Did you do Liz yet? Liz was asking if she was the next. She said, is the man I'm going to meet my life partner?
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
so I pulled a card for you, Liz. You know what? So my favorite Disney movie is Sleeping Beauty. I'm not a big Disney fan in general, but I love Sleeping Beauty. And these cards remind me of that animation. Like, look at that. Don't they look like Sleeping
I've
Beauty?
been thinking that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the Four of Swords, I was looking at that and I was like, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. So my husband's like a super genius, because he got me this deck and I'm like obsessed. I've never even used it because I just got it at Christmas and I'm using it.
Yeah.
I love it. But Liz, you were asking if the next man you're going to meet is your life partner, and you got the Queen of Swords, which is actually kind of harsh, because it's all about you. And the thing about the Queen of Swords is she kind of cuts to the chase. Like, she's very direct. She can be, the shadow side of the Queen of Swords is that she's very critical. right? She's
Mhm.
like, I'm going to just tell you where it's at.
Mhm.
The positive side or the light side of the Queen of Swords is that she is a great leader because she's very direct and clear and gets things done. And so when it comes to meeting your life partner, this could be good because it means you're not going to take any shit. You know, you're not going to take any shit from somebody that you're meeting. You're not going to meet somebody who's the wrong person because you wouldn't even bother meeting them. Pretty.
Yeah.
But the shadow side of this, when it comes to your question, is you want to be careful of being overcritical because that might block your ability to connect with that person. So if you're planning on meeting a specific person, for example, I would say don't be overly critical right out of the gate. And even though you want to have functional boundaries and you may not want to take any shit from them, you also want to make sure that you're not being overly critical and blocking the relationship from happening because you're making judgments. So
Mm.
real tricky. It's like talk about the sword. It's like walking both sides of the blade, you know, it's a double-edged sword thing because on one end you want to have functional boundaries, you want to be very clear about what you want in a relationship, and on the other hand, you also don't want to be overcritical or judgmental, so you somehow have to hold a neutral space with that person when you meet them, and at the same time have those boundaries. I'm pulling one more card about this, and the card I pulled out is Temperance. Really beautiful also, looks like Maleficent even.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Sleeping Beauty these days. But the thing about Temperance is that's patience. So both of these cards together, Liz, I would say whether or not this man you're going to meet is the man you're going to marry doesn't matter. What matters is, are you going to allow it to grow into something by being patient with yourself, patient with that person, and allowing yourself. You know, the hard thing about relationships is even if it is the person you're going to be with, the challenge when you first meet them, especially if it's middle age, like all of us who are middle aged who are dating, like what a mess. You know, I'm writing about it in my book right now, and it's like, you know, it's hard because you have all this baggage, right? And some people have kids and ex-wives and ex-husbands and all these things, and it's easy to be like, dude, I am not putting up with this again, kind of thing, to just shut it down. But it may be harder to have compassion and to hold space. And I'm not saying to have compassion for toxic behavior, but what I am saying is, can you hold space for that person to have some baggage and to have some stuff, and for them to also hold space with you and to be patient with each other, because it's how you communicate and work through the stuff together that really makes the relationship work for the long term. It's not so much about coming into it. I just think, and I don't know if you've seen this, Marlena, but I think oftentimes what happens is we get to a point where we want the perfect person, and the perfect person isn't really what you want. You're never going to find that. What you want
No.
is the perfect communicator. You want someone who's going to communicate with you, who's going to work through the hard stuff together, who's going to listen to what you have to say, and you're going to reciprocate by listening. Like that is what makes a relationship work for the long term. Not that you're
Yeah.
exactly the same or you complement each other perfectly or you're exactly perfect for each other. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-mm.
So, oh, and thank you so much, whoever just wrote, subscribed and liked. We love you guys so
Aw.
much. And no, you're not too late for a card. Hope we're still working our way through this. But yeah, so I would say, is it your life partner? I think the potential's there if you can be patient and not overcritical and judgmental. And I know you, Liz, so I know that you can do this and that you have such a big heart. So I think it's just being open,
Oh.
having functional boundaries, but also really looking past anything that kind of stresses you out right away and just see if maybe there's something more to it than meets the eye when you first meet them.
Love it. Yeah. All right. Sherry asked for a card regarding her current job, and you got the Lovers and a Splendid Torch. So I think this is really interesting for a couple of reasons. Because we've already gotten the Lovers showing up for someone's career reading today, so they're back. That's funny. But also because I think there's actually the possibility for like another offer coming through. So I mean, if you're interested in that, then that's great. But I think that temptation aspect of the Lovers here is that there's obviously a lot of strong energy going on in your current job. It might be in a good way or in a bad way, in the sense that you've got kind of this whole opposites yin yang situation going on. And either that's something that is completely, it helps your workflow, or it could be one of those situations where you're kind of butting heads with whoever you're having to work with. And so when it comes to a splendid torch, if your reaction in these kinds of situations where you found yourself on the opposite end, or there's been a lot of like heightened energy, has been to kind of decide to be the passive one and just, not cause a problem, you don't want to cause conflict, you kind of, dull yourself down. You got a splendid torch, and the message is reflect upon your hero's journey and recognize that you are more yourself now than you've ever been. And there's more where that came from. After all, at the end of one journey is the beginning of the next. But before you embark upon your next adventure, take a moment to acknowledge yourself for participating in this quest and for keeping your eternal flame of purpose burning bright. At this point, you don't have to wait for others to light your fire, because the permission you need has already been granted. Know that true joy comes from being a splendid torch that lights the way for others.
Mm-hmm.
And the mantra is, I know how to light myself on fire, and I burn brightly as a celebration of life. So if you've had that habit of kind of muting yourself, kind of shading from others because you don't want to draw too much attention, whether it's you don't want to take the thunder from someone else, or you maybe have something that you need to work through when it comes to your comfort with visibility and accepting praise for hard work that you've done. I definitely see it as a possibility that there's going to be another opportunity coming through, because of course you have that temptation aspect, and it's really going to be up to you to decide whether or not this other job is really going to, if there's a problem, fix the problem, or if it's something that just needs to be sorted within yourself, and you would be happier at the job you have now if you were to address this visibility thing that's going on. And so really, I think what the issue is here is that tendency, if you've had that tendency in the past to kind of be the one who acquiesces, to just, be a bit more vocal, be comfortable being visible, and really take some time in your job if you've been unhappy to just try, like throw all into the job just for a couple of weeks and see, okay, when I really try, when I really engage, am I happy here? If I take this, if I tell people what I need, can I be happy here? And if not, then be open to the other options, but give the job that you have a real shot first, is what I would say. Yeah.
Love it. So Karen was asking for a message from her dad in heaven, which is so sweet. And Karen, you couldn't ask for a better message. And I'm not going to lie, this deck is epic. This is an epic deck. So Karen, the message from your dad, I pulled the Ace of Pentacles, and it says, the world in a grain of sand. Tarot suits are an unfolding story progressing from the ace to the 10. Tarot aces sparkle with unique magic. Aces are the seed of their suit. The infinite possibilities of each suit exist inside the ace, just as everything you are, were, and will be is tucked inside of you. Understanding how the ace is a seed, like a flower, fruit, or vegetable seed, will help you interpret the ace and when it appears in a reading. It is true beginning. The Ace of Pentacles is the gift of the world of Pentacles. A mysterious hand appears through the clouds of possibility holding a pentacle. Tendrils of growth extend through the hand, and the clouds appear because they are the threshold and entry point to reality. What was hidden is now visible. What was unseen is now seen. Aces are the gateway of manifestation. A bewitched hand holds a pentacle. The hand is the symbol of human ingenuity and potential. This is creativity, ability, and expression. The meanings are a windfall of money, an opportunity bearing fruit appears. You see the forest through the trees, dynamically living inside the body. The shadow is refusing to take the gifts that are being offered to you and taking what you have for granted. So I would say that this is telling you there's absolutely a new beginning around this. Could be around your work or career, but it feels more like there's something blossoming for you, Karen, and it's trusting in what's blossoming and going with the flow of that. And that's the message that you're getting today, is trust that this is all exactly here the way that it's supposed to be. So that's what I get. So thank you, Karen.
Wow.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
Love it.
Thank you to everybody who says you're new, like welcome in new people. And you guys don't forget to click like. We get little hearts when that happens. It's kind of fun to see them on the screen. And don't forget to click subscribe both to Buddhist Biohacker YouTube channel and also to Marlena's channel. Marlena, you want to tell everybody the name of your channel?
It's Marlena and then it's dash Islandwise.
Yes.
So I think I've commented in here, so you should be able to just click on my name. I commented pretty recently. So I pulled a couple of cards for Tamara on her job and her move. And first of all, your new job, you got the King of Pentacles, right? And so that is really promising. So these nice, like, just sturdier foundations. They are more grounded, more practical. And you can see that I love the energy of this room too, because even though, the pentacles are more about money and finances and practical matters, first of all, he just seems so easy and comfortable in his life, right? It doesn't seem kind of like that rigidity of the emperor, where even though he's in control, he doesn't seem like he ever relaxes. He doesn't seem like he gets to enjoy the stability that he has. You can see that the King of Pentacles, he's got his companion, he's got his familiar, he's just chilling out. And it's obviously this really like warm, almost like a study, almost an apothecary also in the back. You can see some of these bottles lining up. It's just a very warm atmosphere. So he's created a situation for himself where he's safe and secure, both financially and physically. And it's also in an area where he feels comfortable, where he can relax, he can be at ease. And so while it's profitable, you also have that ability to look forward to. It's probably going to be just a job or a working environment where you can relax, where you don't feel like you're constantly having to project, perform, be something that you're not. Or if you look away for 1 second, everything's going to come falling apart. Like, you don't have to worry about that so much with this new job. It's just going to be a lot more of stability and ease, that it's probably going to ripple out into other areas of your life. Because if you're happy in your job, if you have a job that's kind of giving you that room and that space, you have more energy for the rest of your life. If you're in a job that's kind of just causing you to be tense all of the time, of course, it bleeds out and outside of the working hours. And so this is really good, because that calmness, that relaxation, that stability will also kind of ripple out into the rest of your life. So that's really promising. Now, when it comes to your move, I think what needs to be addressed is perhaps, even if it's something that you're looking forward to, if there have been these feelings where just like you're kind of scared of this rapid change, because you got the Tower. And I really feel like this card is obviously, because the next card I pulled, because I wanted a little bit of clarification, because that was on your job and this was on your move. The next card was the Two of Wands. So, we're talking about your move, obviously. And so if you've got this fear right now, that's kind of like everything's going to be upended, everything we've established is kind of, the lightning's going to strike, it's falling apart. Am I making the right choice? Am I leaving behind something really good? I think, first of all, you can be reassured that this new job is something that is bringing you joy, right? It's bringing you joy. It's not something that is overly stressful. Of course, any kind of transition can be scary, but I think it's really important to just think of this as a new journey, and not holding this new place to the standards of where you're moving from. And instead trying to, I know it's easier said than done, but trying to shift that fear and that anxiety into excitement, right? Because both of those sensations kind of live in our stomach. And instead of being like, oh my gosh, what am I leaving behind? Being like, how exciting what I'm moving toward, right? All these possibilities that I'm moving toward, and thinking of it that way, like I am this much closer to a brand new start. And that's exciting. That's new opportunity. This is a new chapter for me, in which obviously this job looks really promising and warm and happy and safe. And just really, if you need to lean on that comfort within yourself, trusting that, like the Death card, you have to leave things behind to move forward. And so if you've been having any nervousness, even if you're excited on the outside about this move, any kind of stress of upheaval, just releasing that and saying, okay, I'm releasing this old place to build new, stronger foundations. Because that's the thing with the Tower card, is that even when you've had this kind of cataclysmic, life-changing event, you then have the opportunity to build better and build stronger next time. And so you're now moving toward this opportunity where, if you've been in that stressful place where you've been, you're moving somewhere new to build better, build stronger, and really just have more peace in general, more stability and more ease. So yeah, that is your new place tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm writing because everybody's got I'm commenting because everybody's got such
Mm,
beautiful comments, and I love it. And I pulled a card for Sean, and welcome, Sean. You said you're new to us, so welcome into our community. And you said you lost almost everything during this pandemic, and that's tough. And you're wondering what's next. And what a beautiful message I pulled for you today. I'm just in love with this. And the card is the Chariot, but it has a bald eagle on it, which is so fabulous. And I have to tell you, there's a bald eagle nest sort of, I don't know, it's like 10 miles from my house, like up in these cliffs, and you never really see them. And last year, like a year ago now, really, because it was a few weeks before the pandemic kind of hit where I'm
mhm.
the kids and I was driving them to school, and we saw this bald eagle, and it flew next to our car all the way down the road until we got to the highway.
Wow.
It was just phenomenal. And I remember looking up the bald eagle totem that day because I always look up the totems when I see an animal. And it was all about this like new beginning and overcoming and rising out. And I thought, well, gosh, something big is coming. And what came was the pandemic and this channel and all these things that we've created as a community this past year. So it's really beautiful. And the message of this card, which is the Chariot, is spread your wings and take flight. The shadow witch wakes from her lover's dream, her head groggy and her body heavy with sleep. A loud screech electrifies her. She looks up. A bald eagle is descending out of the sky, heading straight towards her. This is the moment where you step behind the wheel and head towards your destination with perfect clarity to claim the prize and win your heart's desire. The eagle's precision and razor sharp ability to succeed in conquest provides strength and assurance. The eagle teaches us to broaden our sense of self and expand the horizon of what is known. The terrain may be unfamiliar, but you can move freely without fearing the unknown. The shadow witch shapeshifts into the eagle and sets off into the sky. The entirety of the dark wood is spread out beneath her watchful eyes. Have you ever attempted to look at the world with the eagle's eyes? She peers past the horizon, examines all possibilities, and narrows in on what she desires. The eagle's wings are extended and ready for action. The line between the chariot's mind and heart's desire is razor thin. It is the shortest line between 2 points. So, the meaning, it says, your goal is a state of mind. It will be yours. You're moving in alignment with the nature of your soul. And the shadow is the inability to sit still, distraction caused by confusion in the mind. It's time to breathe and transform anxiety into useful, purposeful energy and slow down. So, what I would say, Sean, is a beautiful message. And what I
Mhm.
would say is, first off, invoke the energy of the eagle because that totem has come to you today. But I would also say, in all the loss you've experienced, sometimes losing everything allows you to remake yourself. And I think that this is asking you to not to rise above what you lost, but to transform where you are today into who you are, to let go of holding on to those old identities or old jobs or old energy and come into the new energy, come into your new life as it is today and step forward. And it seems to me that it's going to become, if it hasn't already, this card's all about clarity with that eagle vision. It feels like you're going to come very clear
Mm.
about where you're headed next. And you're just going to go after it. And it's going to be amazing. I actually feel like you're going to push through the knot hole very soon. And things are just going to expand and open up in ways you never expected. So, really, really cool card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I realized I think we'd skipped over Heather earlier because Heather wanted a
Oh,
card. Yeah, on the owl, what the owl synchronicity is trying to tell her. So I pulled a couple of cards for you, Heather, and I think they are very interesting. So your first card was the Ten of Swords reversed. And I think when it comes to this message that the owl is trying to share with you here is really coming into awareness of when something has ended, when you have gotten to the bottom of something, when you have done a full rotation, when you have seen all that you can see, and like there's really no need for you to still be in this place, in this energy, or dealing with this situation anymore. Coming into a healthier awareness of when you've hit the bottom, and knowing, all right, it's time to move on, because it's not necessarily that going to the bottom is a bad thing. It's like getting to the bottom of a situation, getting to the bottom of what the problem is. And then once you know it, being ready to move on from there. Like, you don't need to sit with it permanently, just really letting it integrate and then moving on with it. Because what I like about this card as well is that you can see there are lots of like ravens and crows. So you've got more of this bird-like imagery for you here. And for what this could be, it's also interesting to me that the Hero's Dream Oracle card that you got is be the bridge. And when we think about owls and we think about just the general symbolism of owls, we often think of them as kind of this middle creature that is associated with a lot of magic in certain ways. So it's obviously a natural animal. We know they're real. It's not like we're talking about, something that, a dragon or a mermaid or something where it's debatable. We know owls are real, but we also associate them with a lot of magical activity. And so when it comes to be the bridge, it's really about accepting that you are also one of those entities that is both here and there. And there, of course, being like the magical world, or having the ability to bring magic into your life. And so it says, expand your consciousness to behold both worlds. And the message is, it may feel that no one understands you or what you've gone through. But remember, the higher self and everyone you interact with is rooting for your awakening. But will you stay awake or be lulled into sleepiness? You can't unsee the glory that you've seen. You can't unfeel the radiance you've felt. You can't unlearn the higher truths now encoded within your soul. Though you may feel like a stranger in a strange land, it is up to you to stay alert and turn awakened moments into minutes, hours, and days, and a way of life. This is how you become a bridge from the special world to the ordinary world, so that as many people as want to can cross over. And the mantra is, all that I've learned forms a bridge from earth to heaven and back again. And so really, that's power within yourself. That when we see an owl and we think about magic, that you are also going to be that person for people, that they see you and they think about the possibility of magic in their own lives. But it's also important for you to release these kinds of feelings where in the past, when we think about the traditional representation of this card, it's usually the one who's been like, they have a ton of swords in their back on the beach, right? And that it's a very painful card. You've been hurt and you're down there. But the owl is encouraging you to kind of release this aspect of yourself, like these birds flying over it, acknowledging, of course, the lessons that it's taught you because it's helped shape you into who you are, but no longer holding that as your identity, and instead choosing to move forward and saying, I'm going to embrace what I was alienated for, and I'm going to use that to help other people and myself. Okay? So I think that's what the owl is trying to get through to you in all these appearances that it's making.
Oh, I love it. And if you guys can believe it, we're already out of time. It's so crazy. An hour just flies by. But don't worry, if we didn't get to you, we're back every single month, the first Tuesday of every month, or no, wait, second Tuesday.
Second, yeah. Second Tuesday.
Tuesday of every month. But if you guys want to throw your questions in the comments on the replay, I'm sure we can come back and check in with you. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channels and that would be so great for both of us. We have lots of great stuff coming up. So my channel is the Buddhist Biohacker YouTube. We have 4 shows on Thursday, which is really crazy.
I don't know how you do it.
I know. We have at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. We have this morning, which is our Thursday morning show with Delisa Hawking, another psychic medium. We share predictions for the week. We have Yelena Crawford on this Thursday, so do tune in for that. Right after that at 11:11, I have Herbal Thursdays with the Colorado Herbalist, and she's going to be sharing some winter herbal tips, which I'm excited about. And then in the afternoon, let's see, at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, we have a brand new show, The Ancient Future.
I'm excited about that.
Oh, me too. We're actually going to be talking about all sorts of things that are ancient techniques and traditions and how they come into our lives now to support us in the future. We're also going to honor the goddess and her story every
Mm,
month. And this month we're talking about Isis, and Christine is going to be sharing about Isis. And then I'm actually going to share a channeled message from Isis. So it's going to be really awesome. We're gonna
love it.
and then at
Love it.
5:55 Mountain Time, we have our Diamond Beauties. And this week we have author and really incredible clairvoyant and psychic Deborah Katz. She's going to be on this Thursday night. So we have lots of great stuff coming up. And
Amazing.
Marlena, share how folks can get a hold of you and what do you have going on this week and month?
Okay, so well, of course, you can find me on the Ajatakasha app, and that's also somewhere where if you're interested in future, if you didn't get your question answered today, that's a great place when you join that community. We ask ahead of time, like if you have any questions or anything, and you can really interact with us more often in general. And so you can find me there, and you can also find me on Instagram at IslandWise, and you can also find me on Facebook again, IslandWise Tarot. I also have on my Etsy, you can get same day recorded video readings. So if you didn't get yours today, but you still like a video reading and you don't have the time to do a Zoom call or take that time out of your day, or you don't want to have to wait or something, you can order. I do spirit guide readings. I do past life readings. You can just check out my Etsy store. It's IslandWise Tarot. And yeah, we can get you a same day reading. Or of course, you can book a live Zoom reading with me at islandwisetarot.com/book-me. Yeah,
Oh, so
that's me.
cool. Well, I love you so much, Marlena, and love
I
you
love you
everyone
too.
out there. Yes, thank you so much. We'll see you guys on Thursday, and we'll see you in the Ajatakasha social community app. All the information I put
Hmm.
it in the comments, but it's all up on our community page here on YouTube. And I guess I'll just share, my focus really is to streamline my social media. So I'm going to be doing a lot here on my community page here on YouTube, and then within the Ajatakasha app. I'm really trying to streamline and focus so that you're not having to look in 6 different places to find me.
Everywhere.
Yes. So do subscribe to my channel here on YouTube to get all of the latest information. And thank you guys so much. Thank you, Marlena. And you guys have an
Thank
amazing,
you.
amazing